Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be discussing what I thought of the latest and very good episode of Willow, which dropped today on Disney Plus. I just got done watching it, very much enjoyed it. Before I get into all of that, of course, please be warned, this is a spoiler-filled review. So if you're caught up on Willow by the latest episode, which is episode 7, you do not want to keep watching or listening to this review, as I will be discussing spoilers, plot details, character stuff, all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, this episode answered a question I had on my mind since we first saw Willow's first appearance way back in the earlier episode. I think it was episode 1 or 2. We saw his daughter Mims, but there was no sign of his wife Kaya or his son Rhiannon. And he finally addressed that mystery in this episode. He seems that he blames himself for not being there when his wife passed away. And his son blames him as well, which is why he ran away and was nowhere in sight when our characters first met Willow for the first time at the beginning of their quest. And I'm glad that they gave us some kind of answer or an answer as to why his wife and son weren't in this show, because I'm like, oh, cool, the daughter's here, but where's the rest of the family? So I'm glad this episode addressed that. I'm glad that they brought that to our attention. I loved the creature that pulled them across the shattered sea and how it bonded with Drayden. That was, is it Drayden or Graydon? Whatever. That thing was amazing. It looked like the coolest looking puppet or practical effect, whatever you want to call it. And I really loved how he bonded with it. Like, he really seemed to understand it, and he seemed to have made the right call in letting it go, because it was so exhausted from pulling them across this sandy, watery plateau, basically. So that thing was awesome. I loved that thing. I think it was called a mud mounder or a mud rounder, something like that. It was an underground dwelling creature. Loved that thing. I also really liked how they quickly let us know, oh, this isn't an illusion or an effect of the shattered sea. Like, the same character, Drayden or Graydon, was able to figure out that the old man who was hosting them was not who he appeared to be, and it was one of the crone's servants, the scary bird lady, who seemingly died in this episode when she was blown to bits while in bird form, I think. I have no idea who the hell this scary guy was with the teeth and like no eyes and mask, but I think he was also one of the crone's servants, and that guy was scary. Speaking of the crone, I can't say I was a bit too surprised with the reveal that the princess from Kashmir wasn't actually the princess from Kashmir. She seemed to be the crone in disguise, attempting to either seduce or at least just tempt the prince into doing what she wanted him to do. And by the final shot of this episode, with his new appearance or his haircut and the smirk on his face, he seems to have some hostile intent in mind or something like that towards his sister and towards Elora Danan. So we'll see what happens there in next week's episode. Because next week's episode, I hate to say it, is the 8th and final episode of the season. That's right, the season 1 finale drops next week. No idea as to whether or not we're going to get more seasons in this show or not, but I am hopeful. At least, that's all I've got is hope, because nothing is official yet, but time shall tell. But overall, this was a really good episode. Not as good as the previous episode with all the scary, awesome trolls, but this episode was very enjoyable. Probably the most emotional for any of our characters. You know, you felt bad for Willow, Elora, Kit, and, just everybody bonding over their shared trauma and their frustrations when they thought they reached the edge of the world. And then Kit and Elora dropping into the water, and hopefully that inspires the rest of their comrades to follow them. So that was pretty cool. Overall, very good episode, and I hope you guys liked it as much as I did. Did you have any favorite parts or moments? Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Thanks again so much for watching. The Willow Season 1 finale drops next week on Disney Plus. You don't want to miss it. It's all been building up to this. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. Thanks for watching, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.